Welcome to a short presentation on the Praxis Framework. My name is Rajiv Khanna, and I'm the Managing Director of Raj Khanna Associates Limited. What we hope at the end of this presentation, our learners will have a good idea of what makes up the Praxis Framework, and most significantly, what value does the Praxis Framework add to an individual, the team, and ultimately the organization? But before we do, I'd like to take you through an analogy of a driving course. Imagine when you're learning to drive, you went on a course that showed you how to drive in an urban area. You then had to go to a different driving course that showed you how to drive in a rural area. And then you had a third driving course that shows how to drive on a motorway. So we have three driving courses to learn to drive in three different areas of our community, our country. And not only do we learn to drive, we have to think about the traffic. So if in an urban area, you see, you have a lot of traffic. So we need to learn how to drive in that. Or if it's a quieter area. Additionally, on a quieter area, there are pedestrian crossings. So we have to learn when to slow down and when to stop. In terms of the rural driving, we have hills. So how do we go up the hill? What kind of gears do we need to use, and which part of the road we need to be on? And of course, we have to learn how to drive on a motorway. So three different driving courses and three different areas. But most significantly, we also have to take three different driving tests. That in itself is bad, as we'll see in a bit more detail, but also it is likely that three driving courses use three different terminologies. Do we call it a highway? Do we call it a motorway? Or do we call it a trunk road? Do we have a sidewalk? Do we have a pavement? Or do we have a footpath? When we are being taught in these three different courses with three different areas, the basics are the same. So the first is about how to hold the steering wheel. The best practice says it is 10-2 position with both hands on the steering wheel. We're also taught how to drive using gears if you've got a manual gearbox. You're also shown as part of best practice is how to look at the rear view mirrors. When is it safe to pull over? And when you are taking over, you also need to learn to look in your side view mirrors. So although we've attended three different courses, the basics for all of those courses are duplicated. The challenge is how do we apply it to the context of our driving. So when you come to a road, you need to stop at the dotted lines. When it's safe, you pull over. Alternatively, if you are driving on the highway, when and how is it safe to pull into the motorway? If you're the car that is allowing the traffic to come in, you need to move away. So all of the basics were taught in our driving, but the challenge really is how do we apply it to the context of the roads and the weather? So 3 driving tests, 3 driving courses. Each of them, of course, we're having to pay, whether you're paying in sterling, whether it's in euros, whether it's in dollars, we still have to pay for 3 different tests. And of course, the time. If a course is 10 weeks, then that's 30 weeks in a year. You've got 3 different courses. But imagine the stress that it causes having to sit on 3 different driving tests. So, what are the key concepts of a change initiative? What is it that we're trying to deliver? Whether we deliver something as a program or a project, the basics, like we saw for driving, are the same. We have risks, we have issues, we have benefits, we have stakeholders, we have a schedule. But at the end of that, we deliver something called a product. So something physical, something tangible. It is the complexity of the scope, like we saw, is it a busy road or is it a light road? So based on the complexity of the scope, we decide whether to manage something as a program or a project. We deliver our product, and these products that we deliver at the end of the change initiative now need to be transitioned to business as usual, which we refer to as the outcome. And once we have transitioned our colleagues from the old to the new way of working, we then demonstrate our measurable improvements. Similar to driving, the basic concepts of a change initiative, as we said, are the same. Ultimately, we focus on the delivery of the products, the outcomes, and the benefits. So where and how was the Praxis Framework created? In the marketplace, you will see there are different methodologies that are around. So rather than having 3 or 4 different courses, the Praxis Framework has taken everything it possibly can, of course, and put it into a single place. And that is now referred to, as we see, it's an integrated approach to managing programs and projects. So instead of doing 3 or 4 driving courses with 3 or 4 different driving tests, we can actually do a single course and a single test, saving considerable sums of money, time, and stress. But also, one of the key advantages of Praxis, which again will save us considerable sums of money, is if you have previous qualifications in program or project management, you are exempt from doing the Praxis Foundation course. So 1 less exam to worry about. So the Praxis Framework not only has taken all of those frameworks into a single place, for us, one of the most significant things it includes is the interpersonal skills, leadership skills, conflict management, negotiation skills, which are essential for every member of our change initiative team. So Praxis goes into that in quite significant detail. It also covers high-level elements of the Agile project management framework. For example, the Moscow prioritization technique, the concept of user stories, iterative, incremental delivery, and it includes high-level change management and includes some of the significant thought leaders. For example, Kotter, Bacot and Harris, Herzberg. If you then feel you want further detailed training, then of course we would recommend you do Agile project management and change management training. So having done Praxis, you don't necessarily have to do Agile and change, but we believe it is helpful. Certainly the change management. Because showing you this picture, within the Praxis framework, the items that are shown in blue are covered in detail. Risk management, issue management, the monitoring and control. Within the change management, we go into more details about the individual and the psychology of change. Recognizing every individual is different, they have different learning styles, and they have different cultural issues. But of course, there's a lot of overlap between the Praxis Framework and change management. And we have several people who have completed both their praxis and change management to help them be a better program, project, or change managers. So, what can we do after you watch this video? Well, please, of course, visit the praxisframework.org. It is free. You can access any blogs, templates, etc. You can also, we recommend, register on the Praxis Framework site. That gives us access to that user community. And we'd like you to follow and be a member of the Praxis Framework community on LinkedIn. But of course, what else can we do after the training? You've got templates available from the Praxis Framework website. But of course, those who come to our sessions will also give you the templates, which are built in Excel, and all of those part of a single workbook. So everything is in a single place. So our final message to you is this: please take charge of your change initiatives before they take charge of you. So thank you very much for listening. We hope you found this presentation useful. If there are any queries, comments, please don't hesitate to contact me on rk@rkanna.co.uk. And of course, please follow me on LinkedIn. And if there's anything we can do, we'll only be too willing to help. Thank you once again. Bye-bye now.